This is the 64th episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I am your very cold host, Aaron, and allow me to run my mouth for a little bit. Fun fact about me, I don't like wearing socks in the house. I don't know why. Apparently this is just an immutable characteristic about me because one of the little funny stories that my dad likes to tell me, because I would frequently walk around the house without socks on as a kid. And my parents were just really mostly just my dad was really intent on making me wear socks in the house. And one day he told me when I was a baby, he would put socks on me and I'd just kick them right off. And I mean, I'm so real for that. I've never liked wearing socks just in the house. Obviously, when I'm out and about wearing shoes, I'll wear socks because putting raw dogging shoes, certain kinds of shoes without socks, kind of crazy. But just like in the house, like no. And I know that's crazy to some people because some people wear shoes in their house and therefore their floors are like always dirty. Not me. I'm a no shoes household. I mean, this is obviously a new development because I've only been living alone for, I don't know, like 5-ish years. So yeah, I don't like wearing socks and it's gotten pretty cold these last 2 weekends. In fact, what temperature is it outside? Because the sun has gone down and the stars have come out and all that counts is here and now. It's 30 degrees outside. So below freezing, and let me tell you, I can feel it. I'm not wearing socks. You're just gonna have to trust me because you can't see my feet and I will not be showing the dogs on camera. And yeah, my feet, I'm not gonna lie, they're cold. Last weekend, when everyone was freaking out about the freeze, rightfully so, by the way, because there are some areas of North Mississippi that are still, like, feeling it. Like, yeah, it got pretty bad up in North Mississippi, up in the Delta. They canceled classes, like, all last week, I want to say, at Ole Miss, whichever one is the one that's in Oxford. That's where they canceled classes for, like, the entire week because stuff was just bad and the roads were, like, not good. Like, they still had, like, ice on the ground in places in North Mississippi, like, last week. Here in Jackson, here in the metro, it didn't really get that bad, thankfully, because I'm not gonna lie, it was making me, like, really anxious about, the potential of there being an apocalyptic ice storm happening. And I mean, it did sort of happen in other places. Like, it did kind of be like that for some people, just not here. So, but yeah, it got to the point where last weekend, I was wearing socks in the house, which is quite unprecedented because, again, that's not something that I do. But I had to because it was just too cold. I also don't like wearing socks in bed. I don't know why. The reason I don't like wearing socks is because, for the most part growing up, I mean, I never lived in like 100%, non-carpet or 100% carpet house, but I don't like the feeling of like slipping and sliding. I don't know if it's just the way that I walk, because I don't know, maybe it's just my gait, the way that my feet hit the floor and then leave the floor when I'm walking. But it's just whenever I wear socks and I'm on like hardwood floors or like non-carpeted surfaces, I'm just slipping around and I don't really like that. I'm not exactly at breaking a hip age, but I don't want to slip and fall. Even though, I'd probably be okay, probably get a nice big bruise, probably hurt. But I just don't want to slip and fall. Also, I like feeling the ground beneath my feet. And also, given that we are here in Casa de Aaron, a no shoes household, I can also kind of like tell how clean the floors are if I'm barefoot. So yeah, a lot of sock and foot talk. But yeah, it's been real cold here. Of course, Mississippians don't really know how to handle it. I'm not gonna lie, I was sort of hoping that, and I don't even know why I was hoping this. I just kind of didn't want to go to work last Monday. That's really all there was to it. And I was sort of hoping like, oh, they'll tell us not to worry about coming in. But no, I had to come in. And also, I live really close to my job, so it's like I couldn't even really use ice as an excuse because there was some ice on the roads, but like not enough for it to be a problem, So, and I'm like the only one on my team that I think even lives within Jackson, which is kind of crazy to think about. Everybody else lives in the boroughs, but we work here in Jackson. Don't know what that's all about, but um, I'm the only one who actually lives in Jackson on my team at the very least. Um, so it was kind of a given that I would be coming in, but there was not last year, but the year before last, MLK Day, when it froze, that had to be 2024, big freeze down here in the metro. And it wasn't super bad to the point where there was like, I mean, I kind of don't remember. I know my power didn't go out during that time. And also, this was when I was living in my last apartment, when if someone sneezed outside, the power would go out. So, but my power stayed on. But the thing is, it went from being a 3-day weekend, because it was MLK, to like, I want to say 4 or 5 days that I stayed in the house, because I didn't go out that entire weekend. And it got kind of weird by the end of it, because I was just inside for 5 days straight, which I can't even say the last time that's happened, where I've been indoors, have not left my house for more than like a day. So yeah, I got kind of cabin fever by the end of it. But for whatever reason, I was wanting that to happen again. Don't know why. I just didn't feel like going to work, I guess. Just really felt like sleeping, which, when don't I feel like sleeping? It's 8:13 as I'm recording this, and I feel like sleeping now because, I mean, it's my bedtime, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, there are still areas, as I am recording this, of North Mississippi and the Delta. And also, there was like a second wave that came through that is apparently really heavily affecting like Nashville, Tennessee, and like that area. What part is that? Is that the middle, or is that the other end? Because, you got Memphis on one side, and then you got Nashville, and then you got like Knoxville, I think, or Louisville, or something. You have a few. Where is this? Okay, no. Nashville is like above Alabama, so that is the middle. And then what would be on this side? Where is nope, that's North Carolina. I guess Knoxville would be the Cardinal East East Tennessee, and then Nashville would be central, and then I guess Memphis would be like west. But I don't think anybody refers to that area as West Tennessee. I know East Tennessee is like a nomenclature, and then no, I don't know, man. Listen, I haven't spent that much time in Tennessee. I've been to Memphis like twice. And that's kind of it. But either way, Nashville, they're kind of going through it right now. And I think some other parts of the South, but, the upper South are kind of going through it right now, as well as it relates to the weather. Which is, it's a rough winter, but thankfully I can say that for the most part, things are fine here, and it's supposed to get warmer. I don't know why this has become a weather cast, but I'm talking about the weather, so this is a weather cast. Yeah, like Friday it's supposed to be 65. My goodness. And I think it's only probably gonna get warmer now that we're getting closer to March. It's February. I didn't take that in this morning because, I had to pay my rent and everything, but it's February. January is over, and now it's also Black History Month. And, yeah, it's February, and it'll be February when this comes out. But yeah, the passage of time just is constantly sneaking up on me. Like, I kind of can't believe it's already February. I mean, I know it's February 1st, but it feels like January 32nd. I don't know, man. Yeah, anywho. So I have 2 topics on the list today. And I know every time I say, oh, this is going to be a shorter episode, it ends up being a normal sized episode or a long episode, weirdly. I have 2 things that I wrote down, but I'll actually write a third thing down, because I feel like I can talk about that a little bit. I didn't go to any shows in the past 2 weeks. I wanted to go to the one that was going to be on Friday, which was this past Friday, which was Bass Jump, Charcoal Aureus hangnail ripoff in Eisen, but I don't know what was going on. But this past Friday, a couple days ago, I'm, sitting at work, minding my business, minding my black owned business, right? And around lunchtime, my knees just start aching. And it's like, well, that's crazy. Because, first of all, that's never really happened before. Don't know what that's all about. I don't know if it's the cold, but it wasn't particularly cold in my workplace. So I feel like it's been colder in my workplace, and my knees don't just start aching all of a sudden. And so I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to stand up for 5 bands. Wait, 2, 4. Nope, 2, 4. Yeah, 5 bands. And so I was like, and it was I did want to go, right? I'd already mentally picked out my outfit. I knew how I was going to do my makeup. I'd already bought a ticket. So it's like, I was intending on going, but my knees were like, no, maybe you'd like to stay home instead and sleep. Even though I don't even know if I got adequate sleep, because I've also been dealing with something somewhat ridiculous. I've talked about this on my Instagram stories frequently, and it comes up every other week, because every other week I'm uploading an episode of this podcast, and sometimes it will take 5 ever for me to do it. But I have been having issues with Xfinity, who has become my op now. They're on the op list. I hate Xfinity. All my homies hate Xfinity, and I'm going to continue to have to hate Xfinity because I can't switch to any other ISP, because where I'm living, well, this particular apartment complex, that's the only thing that's available. I don't know if I've talked about this on a previous episode, but I'm going to talk about it again, because I don't care. I'm going to rant about this because I feel like it's worth ranting about. So, I already had Xfinity at my last apartment. I didn't really have internet issues like that at my last apartment, right? Like, it was kind of not even... nothing was happening, so I wasn't really talking about it or thinking about it like that. But things are happening here, and I can't switch because it's the only thing that's available. Now, if I wanted to get 5G home internet, then maybe I could, but I can't even get 5G on my phone, so I don't even think that would be reliable. And considering what I do, which is, make 2-hour long videos every other week and upload them, I need something that's going to be reliable, and I also need an Ethernet connection, because with 5G, I mean, they might give me a little modem, but it's probably not going to be as good as like a wired connection. And there's no fiber in the area. There's fiber in other places in Jackson. Like in my first apartment, I think I had fiber internet. And when I was at college, which is by a few blocks away, so I don't even know what's going on there, I had fiber internet. And that was 5 years ago? I don't know what that's all about. I live a few blocks away from my college where I had fiber internet. There's no fiber in this neighborhood. I can't get Xfinity. I can't get... What was I thought? What's the one that's here? I can't get AT&T. No AT&T fiber. I can't get C Spire fiber. Can't get any of that. It's just Xfinity here, and there's no fiber. It's like regular. And this is like so deeply frustrating. But to relay it back to what's been happening recently, I have the regular equipment in my house. They combined the modem and the router into like the one thing, and now that's the thing that's in your house. And this started last week during the ice storm. So at first I was like, okay, maybe this has something to do with the infrastructure of the area. But also at the same time, there were no outages here. And as far as I know, like no real damage to like stuff outside. So it's like that wouldn't make sense, because also what was happening essentially was that over the course of this past week, the strength of my Wi-Fi has gone down to the point where last Friday, I want to say, I couldn't even connect via Wi-Fi with any of my devices. Not this computer, not my tablet, not my phone, not my Roku stick. I couldn't connect to it at all, where, I was sort of using it that previous night. And I don't know what's going on there. I'm assuming that my little box that I got out there is probably old, because what was happening was that I was getting perfect connection via Ethernet, because, when was this? A couple episodes ago, I was having some trouble uploading the episode to YouTube, because, hour and a half long video, it's pretty big, even though, the way I export it, it's not as big as it could be, but it's still pretty big file. And it was taking forever, to the point where I was having to leave my computer on overnight to actually upload the podcast to YouTube, which I know this is a little bit inside baseball, but whatever, I'm talking about it. And I was like, this is crazy, because number one, I am paying for a gigabit. It's not fiber, but it is gigabit. I'm paying for that, and I'm not getting those speeds. And I know it's up to, and that's how they get away with not giving you the speeds that you're paying, what, $86 for? And of course, upload speed when you don't have fiber is like a toss up anyways. And that's really what I'm concerned about, is the upload speed, because it got to the point where I was getting like half a megabit upload, which is insane. That's like dial up type speeds. In the year of our Lord 2025 or 6. I mean, this happened like last month. So, that's kind of crazy. Also considering what I'm supposed to be paying for. And so what I ended up having to do is like drive to Walmart at like 7:00 at night to buy a 50-foot Ethernet cable and connect that. And it did help a little bit, but still, either way, going back to this past Friday, I was still able, why did that sound weird coming out of my mouth? I was still able to connect this computer here that I'm using to record the pod episode to my router with Ethernet, but no Wi-Fi was connecting. And I was like, I don't even know what the heck I can do. Like, I can log into my router and like try to change some stuff around, but the way that it is now is like, you can't even really, like, I've been trying to set up, well, I mean, I've stopped trying, but I've been trying to set up, a whole home DNS system that will block ads, like a whole DNS ad blocker. Can't do that because you can't change the DNS settings with Xfinity on their routers, which is lame. I have an old, and when I say old, this thing has to be more than 10 years old, by the way, router that my parents had, but then they like upgraded to something else, and then I got it, and then I took it I don't even know why okay, I had it because back home we had really slow internet. I'm talking like 10 up, 10 down, like legit dial-up speeds. Also, rural area, so it's like you're just gonna get whatever they give you. And because I was doing YouTube at home when I was unemployed, I needed a better, and I was streaming, I needed a better, more reliable internet connection. So I took that router out of whatever storage it was hiding in, and I used that as a bridge to our main router. Okay. And I use that as an Ethernet connection to my computer back home. So like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. I am pretty tech savvy. I had to do a lot of troubleshooting growing up because, having older and less, good working tech makes you do a lot of troubleshooting. Also, I was doing a lot of pirating back then. And also, this was back in the day, right? My favorite game when I was like 12 was Minecraft. And back then, when you were modding Minecraft, there is no mods folder. The kids these days, they don't know how good they have it. There was no mod folder. You had to open the jar file, delete meta INF, and then drag the mod files into the jar file to install mods in Minecraft back in the beta days. Okay, it was an involved process. So I know my way around tech reasonably. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. Of course, I haven't really had to do much of that lately because, with most of the video games that I play, adding mods is like, I mean, you're clicking a button on the Steam Workshop and it kind of does all of it for you. And I'm not really pirating anymore because I have adult money and I can buy pretty much whatever I want. And, the tech that I have, I've taken decently good care of it to the point where it's like, I don't really need to do that much troubleshooting on it. But either way, I kind of know what I'm doing. But with this issue, I genuinely don't know what the heck to do. And also, this is compounded with the fact that Xfinity does not have any human support, to my knowledge. Now all of it is an AI chatbot, and all they can really do is reset your router remotely, and that's that. So now I have to have someone come to my house and try to look at it on Monday, tomorrow, and hope that does something. Maybe they'll end up replacing the box, but who knows. In the interim, I have, connected, and it's my house is in disarray. Because I was thinking like, oh, maybe if I move my router physically closer to my bedroom, because when it was happening was at night when I try to watch my silly little cop shows to go to bed. And so, my bedroom's back here, my router's up here, and it's not that long of a hallway. And also, I wasn't having these issues before, but either way, it's not that long of a hallway. But I was like, oh, what if I just move it closer to me? Maybe that'll make it work better. So right now, it's still out in my hallway. And I also have the router connected to it, which has worked. Like, I haven't gotten any like drop connections on my phone or on my tablet. I haven't really used my Roku stick because I don't really use it that often to know whether or not that's actually working. But I'm going through it here at Runnin My Mouth Studios, with my tech problems, which I was not intending on talking about for as long as I did, but yeah, that's happening, and I had to figure that out on Friday, and hopefully I won't have to have a 10 plus year old router daisy chained to, my Xfinity router just to get Wi-Fi in my house with speeds that, are lower than what I'm paying for, but whatever. Who cares? I care. And Xfinity are still my ops. I really hope we get fiber in this neighborhood at some point so I can switch, but I'm complaining about this now, but there are areas in Mississippi that still have dial-up. And they're having to use friggin' Starlink. They're having to rely on Elon Musk to give them internet. Yeah, they're going through it. I'm sure there's other providers for like satellite internet for rural areas, because dial-up, you can't really do anything on dial-up. There's a YouTube video that I saw. I didn't watch it, but I saw that it existed, where someone tried to use like modern internet on a dial-up connection, and I can't imagine that it went very well. But also, most people have phone plans with like unlimited data, but that doesn't really help when you're doing stuff on a computer and when you're trying to upload, hour and a half long videos to youtube.com every other week. So it's like, I don't want to have to resort to that, but some people really are still out here on dial-up, which is crazy. And I know there are efforts to expand broadband access here in the state, but what's really crazy is that the internet is kind of just a series of wires, and someone has to go out and lay the wires. And I mean, obviously you can get it via satellite, but I mean, 5G comes from cell towers. The satellite internet comes from the satellites, but then you have to put more satellites in the sky. And I think the meteorologists have said that putting more satellites in the sky is kind of messing with their meteorology, so that's not really a good solution. So you really do just have to put more wires in the ground so that people can have internet, which is so crazy to think about. Technology. It's amazing, isn't it? I would have gone to college for like something STEM related if I was good at math, but I wasn't, so I went to make movies instead. And that's been working out for me. I'm not even gonna lie. It has been working out for me. I was gonna make a joke, but no, it actually has been working out for me. And also for my classmates. I did talk a couple episodes ago about wanting to do a mini reunion with some of my classmates, and I did actually end up reaching out, but in tracking them down, I saw that a lot of my classmates, they are doing things with their degree, which is pretty dope. You always hear, this really got me. So our lovely, I was going to say something really mean, but I'm not gonna, but it's our lovely state auditor, Mr. Shadrach White, which that is his real government name. Someone looked down at a baby in their arms and was like, you know what? I'm going to name them Shadrach. And I was honestly on the way to the grocery store this morning, I was like thinking of biblical names that would be really funny to like name a kid, like Zebedee, or I don't know if Hezekiah is a biblical name, but there is like I think a politician or something called Hezekiah Walker, so it's too late. Or Obadiah, which I did go to school with a kid named Obadiah, so it's like, but still. Funny biblical name. Shadrach is up there with ridiculous biblical names to give your kids. Timothy, John, Luke, Peter, those are fine. Those are also New Testament, though. The ones that I mentioned, I'm pretty sure they're Old Testament. There's a lot of interesting Old Testament names out there. Them old Hebrew names that apparently people are still giving to their kids. Shad White, I don't even think has cracked 40 yet. Hold on. Shad White. No, he has cracked 40, and we were born in the same month, which is crazy. I don't want to share a birthday month with this guy, but yes, he has cracked 40. Doesn't look like it. Either way, his name, his full legal name is Shadrach, which, by the way, not even spelled the way that it's spelled in the Bible. His name is literally Shadrack. Shadrach, okay, the story of it's Shadr Shadrach CH. Shadrach oh god, I can't. Shadrach Meshach and Abednego. That's from the book of Daniel. And his name's not even spelled right. So like what's the point? Anyway, all that to say, my not good Judy Shadrach once said that we in Mississippi, I guess, need to stop funding all these useless degrees, all these useless arts degrees, when he himself has a political science degree. So it's like, what the heck are you even talking about? I'm sure a lot of people would consider that useless because we're going to go down to the political science factory and make some political science that I can buy, you know? I mean, listen, the guy's clearly on a grift. If I may, for a minute, rant about Shad White, because I'm gonna. The guy is clearly on a grift. We are back. The spirit of Shadrach made my camera stop working. Basically, what I was going to say was that Shad White put out, who, by the way, Shad White is a state auditor. What does that person do? They look into the finances of the state, I guess. He's also put out a book about Brett Favre while he was still in office, which, by the way, he is still in office. But either way, the man's been on a grift, in my humble opinion, because I don't know if the state auditor is supposed to be like nonpartisan. I don't really know. I genuinely don't. But the guy is clearly batting for a certain team. I'll say that much, because there was a press conference. This had to be last year, or maybe the year before last. I don't know. It was a little while ago, that basically, said we're spending too much money on illegal immigrants here in Mississippi. And the crazy thing about it is that the breakdown of the money that was being spent was, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like 7 million, of people's tax dollars. 7 million for costs related to like prisons. 13 million for, I think, medical expenses, and then 10 million for education. So basically, he's complaining that we're spending, money educating the children of immigrants and giving them health care. Because, 7 million compared to 10 plus 13, that's 23 million. It's kind of a big difference, And also, of course, the thing he said about we need to stop funding these useless degrees. Well, he himself is the holder of a useless degree. In fact, where did this man go to college? Because if he went to college here in Mississippi, early life, he went to friggin' is Ole Miss University of Mississippi? I'm pretty sure. Yes. He went to Ole Miss. Got a degree in political science. In economics and political science. Economics in 2008, by the way. Graduated during the financial crisis. That's crazy. And so, people could say like, oh, we need more bricklayers than economists. And we need more, I don't know, what's the job people, we need more factory workers than we do political scientists. So it's like, people could put the thing down, flip it, and reverse it back on you. So it's like, what's that all about? Also, another thing that's kind of crazy is that he is another one of these, really anti-immigrant white men who have brown wives. So, there's that. Just had to point that out. He's up there with JD Vance and probably a lot of other different people that I don't even know about who are low-key kind of racist, but also have a non-white wife. So it's like, what's going on here? What's actually happening? You know? Anyway, that I just had to divert and talk about my good friend, my good not friend, my my bad Judy Shadrach, whose name again not spelled correctly. Anywho, I have a bit of news to share, and this is, in hindsight, it's not surprising, but on the other hand, it's like, man, it's really come to this. So, members of the Four-Eyed Federation can all rejoice because I will soon be joining your ranks. I went to the eye doctor recently, and they informed me that I am just a little bit farsighted in my right eye because I have been having, not necessarily vision issues, I've been having some problems with like eye strain, which is, my job is to look at a computer all day, and my hobbies include looking at computers and screens. So it's like not exactly surprising. And also the place that I work in is like 50 million lumens bright. Like it's so bright. It's insane. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go to the eye doctor to see like maybe there's something wrong with me eyeballs. That's making me light sensitive. Or maybe I just am light sensitive. And the verdict is I am slightly farsighted in my right eye. Left. Did I say right? I meant left. It's this one. She's the issue. Okay? But aside from that, my eyes are kind of fine. That's what the doctor told me. So I don't know. I guess some people just are sensitive to light. But I went on the line and I bought some glasses and they're not here yet. I had this appointment like 2 weeks ago and I bought the glasses like a day after. So it's like, I don't know what's taking so long. I bought them on the 24th. I don't know when they're going to start shipping. How long? Because I mean, it's really only one lens that you have to carve to make it fit to my prescription. Because the other one is like just blank, which I mean, I don't know what the numbers mean. Because in my right eye, it's not just like all zeros. I still have the paper on my desk. It's, whatever. It's, you got the sphere, the cylinder, and the axis. And the cylinder and the axis, they have numbers. But the sphere is not. So I don't know. I don't know how long that takes. I've never had to wear glasses before, and I did, because, obviously I knew I was going to have this appointment for a while. I was like, okay, if I have to wear glasses, I want to wear a specific kind of glasses. I don't want to wear, I know the Y2K style is coming back, and the girlies in the 2000s were wearing those rectangle glasses that I low-key kind of hate, the Bayonetta glasses, the shape, the exact same shape. Hold on, I know I'm right, but I'm going to look it up anyways. But if you look at a picture of the character Bayonetta, well, those are a little bit more wide or taller than I think. But basically, the shape of glasses that Bayonetta wears, that's the ones, which I mean, this probably came out in the 2000s. Those were the glasses 2009. That was the glasses shape that the girlies were wearing back then. It's starting to come back. I low-key didn't think it looked good back then. I don't think it looks good now, if I'm being honest, especially not on me. I had an opportunity to try on a few pairs at the doctor's office because, eye doctors, they also sell the glasses. And I really specifically wanted okay, hold on. I wanted like a big circular pair of glasses because back in the day, I was also, this was a thing back then. I was wearing the fashion glasses when I was in middle school. And yes, they were rectangular, but that's also the only thing that was available back then. So I didn't really have much choice, but I was in Claire's, which RIP Claire's, RIP to a real one, Claire's. They would sell fashion glasses for like $12, on the rare occasions that we would get to go to Montgomery or Birmingham and go to the mall and go to the Claire's, I'd be buying the fashion glasses. I would be buying glasses from Claire's, and I'd be buying the hand sanitizer for 50 cents each from Bath and Body Works. Okay. Um enough of that. But yeah, I had though a pair of like fake glasses from when I was like in college, and they were like big circular lenses. In fact, do I still have them? I don't. No, I don't. I don't still have them. But they were like huge on me. They're like honestly kind of like big anime girl glasses, and they were so cute on me, right? But the only pair, the only like circular glasses that they had in the store made me look like Leon Trotsky. They were really small. They were really small, and they made my head look huge. And, I could have said Harry Potter, but in fact, hold on. Harry Potter. No, Harry Potters were bigger. Trotsky had them teeny tiny glasses. Lenin? Like 70s Lenin? Okay, those are still, I feel like, more proportional. I feel like Trotsky had comically small eyeglasses that were circular, which is why I invoke his name. But I didn't want to look like that. Because if you think about it, I'm not going to be a full-time glasses wearer because I don't really need to. I mean, I only really sort of have an issue seeing things far away. So it's like, I will really need to wear them at night because, after dark, these headlights, they're starting to get kind of crazy. I'm not even going to lie. And I'll obviously need to wear them at work because, again, my workspace is like the surface of the sun. It's so bright. And so I got, all the special coatings that cost a lot of money that should help with that. In theory, I don't know yet because they're not here. So I don't know if I spent, how much are these? Like $75, $78? And that was with the discount. They were originally going to be $111. Now I did shop around. For some glasses because, I have vision insurance, right? And the thing about that is that with vision insurance, the only place I would be able to go is like Lens Crafters or imart Express. And I wanted to think very hard about the kind of glasses that I would wear because, again, if I'm going to be wearing these for pretty much the entire time that I'm at work, which is where I am most of the time, these are pretty much going to become a part of my face. It's like, if I were going to, I don't know, get plastic surgery to add a mole to my face, right? I'd have to think very hard about it because now this is going to be part of my face. Basically, when you wear glasses, that is your face, right? And I was like, I didn't really want to wear something that I didn't feel good about. Because, again, this is like part of my face, So what I settled on were a pair of heart-shaped glasses because I thought about it and I was like, wait a minute. I don't have to limit myself to circular glasses. Pretty much everywhere will have circular glasses now. But, like, I could get heart-shaped glasses. And I found a few retailers that had heart-shaped glasses. And so I bought some heart-shaped glasses. And now, I got them from iBuy Direct and not sponsored because, again, these have not made it to my house yet. They haven't even shipped yet. So it's going to take probably a while for them to get here because, I mean, it says they're almost done. And I don't know what that means. What do you mean by almost done? When are these supposed to get to me? Because, again, I bought them on the 24th. That was, like, almost 2 weeks ago by now. So it's like, I don't know. Does it take long for glasses to get made? Maybe. I mean, it's not like my freaking prescription is complicated or whatever. But either way, I settled on some heart-shaped glasses because maybe I do want to be the girly who wears heart-shaped glasses. Like, why not? Why not? I'm an adult. I have adult money. I can spend it on whatever I want. And what I want is to wear heart-shaped glasses. And it's like I already wear heart-shaped sunglasses, and I have for like a few years now. They're like my daily drivers. Like I'm out here with heart-shaped sunglasses. So it's like heart-shaped eyeglasses. It's like, why not? Why not? And also another thing is that I'm about to get a haircut because, I mean, you can't tell. I've braided my hair I put it in 4 braids this time instead of 2. And the reason that I braided my hair instead of twisting it, like I normally do, is because, I suppose this is next week. Gasp, I'm getting my hair cut. And I feel like that's a big deal for me because I've only gotten my hair cut, like, not just a trim, like, this is gonna be cut. I'm gonna ask the lady to take quite a few inches off, like half. I'm gonna ask her to take half of it off, and I'm not gonna look back. Because I first cut my hair with my mom watching in abject horror. Like, the look on my mom's face when I was getting my hair cut that first time, you would think I was getting my arm sawed off in front of her. It was insane. But also my hair was like so heat damaged and also so color damaged, like it had to go. There is no point in hanging on to any of it. And that was about six years ago now. I did that February 2020, I think. No, that wasn't February 2020. That was February 2021. It was after I graduated. Yes, it was after I graduated, but before I actually had my graduation ceremony. So no, it's only been 5 years since I've been, a no heat natural, I guess, because I don't put heat on my hair, like, at all. I don't blow dry it. I don't straighten it. I don't flat iron it. The hottest thing that is touching my head is the sun. So I don't use any heat at all. I just let my hair air dry, which is a war crime according to some people, but I've never had my hair fall out because of that. So it's like, I don't know. I know I have some knowledge gaps in how to take care of my own hair because I only learned how to take care of it when I was in college and only barely at that. But either way, that was the first time I cut my hair. The second time, that was not long after I moved here, I think. And my ends were like really split somehow, even though it wasn't even really that long after I had my hair cut the first time, because I went to a salon to do it. I didn't do it myself. The second time I did do it myself, and it was really cute. I really loved having short hair. Oh, I loved having short hair so bad. So bad. But as it grew out, I could tell, like, oh, I messed up somewhere along the way. Because what I ended up doing is that I would take sections of I split it down the middle, and I'd take sections of my hair, and I'd stretch it out, and I'd cut it about at chin length, and I did that all around my hair. And I don't know why, but, well, I mean, it just ended up becoming uneven. So, I haven't worn my hair just, like, out in, like, almost a year. Like, the last time that I did that, which I know I've talked about that before on this here pod, was literally last February. So it has been a year. It's been a year since I've just worn my hair out, and I want to do it more often. I like having a fro. I don't like having a long fro. I want it to be a little bit shorter. And so the last time I actually bothered to measure my hair, it was about maybe 14 inches. So, and I have a complicated relationship with my hair because growing up, I was always the girl with the long hair, and it's so bizarre. I got so many biracial allegations, and I do really mean allegations because people, and by people, I mean the kids that I grew up with, approached it in such a bizarre manner that it felt like they were accusing me of a crime, which I'm not, by the way. 2 Black parents, 4 Black grandparents, in case it mattered. But yeah, I feel like, people would always ask me, like, if my hair was real, if it was all mine, because it was long, and people asked me if I was mixed because it was long, and also, because I talk like this. That didn't exactly help with biracial allegations, but we're all past that now. Having long hair, I can definitely say, is very overrated. As someone who was a long hair girl for most of my life, it is deeply overrated. And I made a video essay about it called Freeing Myself from the Shackles of Straight Hair, I think, on my main channel. It's just Aaron, if you want to watch that. But yeah, it's been a long road, but now my hair is too long and it's starting to bother me again, and it's got to go. And there's been this one salon that I've been wanting to go to for months, but every time, it comes time for me to wash my hair again, they're like already booked up for like weeks. So I had to book this appointment like a month in advance. So now I'll finally have it, and I'll get my hair cut by a professional, and they'll also twist it because, doing my hair has become an ordeal. And it doesn't really need to be an ordeal. And I feel like having it shorter makes it less of an ordeal. So that's also why I'm cutting it, because it's annoying me and because doing it has become an ordeal. And I don't want it to become an ordeal. I also don't want to have to go to a salon like frequently, because this getting my hair cut and then twisted, well, it's also going to be washed, but all of that together is like $155. That's kind of a lot. People do that every month. I was doing that every month, but I also wasn't paying for it. My mom was. But she was not only paying for me every month, but paying for herself every month. Like, that's a lot, I feel like there's a lot of cost associated with being a woman that I think people are starting to talk about it. But if you're a girly pop who gets her hair done every month and gets her lashes done every month and gets her nails done every month and maybe even gets her toes done every month, I don't know, like, that adds up. Because nails, like the gel nails that the girlies are getting these days, that costs a lot. That's like almost $100 right there. And then getting your hair done, depending on what you're getting done to it, also $100. So that's $200. I don't know how much lashes cost. I don't really know anyone currently who's like getting lashes installed, but I would imagine that costs quite a bit. It's a lot. And, these are things that I do myself. I do my own hair. I mean, I don't wear lashes. I'll put on mascara every once in a while. And I honestly don't even really do my nails anymore. Now that I have been sort of kind of trying to be consistent with practicing my guitar, I have been having to cut my nails, well, at least on my left hand, short, like, more frequently, and my nails grow just like so fast to the point where it's kind of annoying. So it's like, that's the extent of my nail care. But I used to be painting my nails like once a week, every week, especially when I was in college, a new color every week. I don't know if I want to go back to doing that necessarily, because, it's just kind of, you have to devote a chunk of time to it, and I just don't know if that's something I want to do currently, I wish I had like a nail dryer. I feel like that would help, but previously I would just, get a fan and hope that dries my nails, because I don't really have gel polish. I want to use a UV light on my hands. But yeah. How did I get on this topic? Because I'm cutting my hair. And I will not be sad to see it go. I won't be able to have as long of a braid, but also I kind of don't care. I truly don't, It's kind of whatever. So another thing that I have on my list, which I've talked about this at least once before recently, and I don't really, oh wait, no, yes I do. Is it this episode? Let me see. No. God, I don't know why I can't freaking find it. I know I've talked about it recently. I just can't find it. Either way, I've talked about the case of Jay Lee at minimum one time. Had to have been. I know I have. I just can't find the episode, which is crazy. But, and all of that was resolved. Okay, hold on. What if that was last? No. Was it this one? It's fine. I'm just not gonna be able to figure out what episode it was. I've talked about Jay Lee's case at least once here on the pod. Okay, just looking at my battery. And I'm bringing it up now because this past Friday, there was an episode of Dateline NBC on the case. And I watched it on Saturday, and I honestly thought it was really well done. And it just kind of got me to thinking, like, the way that it all played out, which is so crazy to me because, there was the initial trial, which was the end of 2024. Like, I think it started October 2024, October or November. It's like the second half of the year, 2024, right? And it ends up ending in a mistrial, an 11-1 mistrial, because one juror could not convict because Jaylee's body had not been found. And then a couple months later, I want to say it was January or February. I think it was early February 2025. Almost exactly a year ago now, they do find his body in Carroll County, I believe it was, just in the woods in Carroll County. And so, that definitely changes things because just imagine, right, if the trial had taken place just like a couple months later than it did, right? It got pushed back a couple months later than it did. Then they could have convicted that first time, you know? And it's like, I don't know. It's so crazy to me, how all of that happened. And then, of course, there was not really a second trial because Timothy Harrington ended up pleading guilty that time, and got 40 years, which he should have gotten life. But at that time, Jaylee had been dead for a while. He'd been in the woods for a while, and what they ended up finding were skeletal remains. So at that point, it was pretty hard to determine a cause or manner of death, which they do explain in the Dateline piece, which is, I mean, it's on Peacock, and I do have Peacock, and that is where I watched it, but I know that's a subscription. But I feel like you should be able to watch it on maybe this Friday. They might unlock it for you to watch it on the NBC website if you are interested in watching it and don't want to pay for Peacock. It's also on some other free services. Hold on, because for a little bit I couldn't figure out my Peacock login because it's through my parents' cable. It's on Pluto TV. It's on Sling. It's on the Roku channel. It's on Zumo. It's on NBC for free, but not entirely free. Which, in fact, hold on. If you go to NBC.com, which I think I'm logged in. I'm not, okay, I am logged in, but it's going to redirect me. I think it was showing up as locked last time, which now it's not. It's not redirecting me to Peacock either. So I think it's free on NBC now. I don't know if this is going to start playing though. Maybe because I have my ad blocker on. Hold on, let me turn that off. And maybe it'll start playing. Okay, it's not playing. Okay, in theory, hold on. What if I open this on Firefox? Will that do something? Where's Firefox? There it is. Oh, no. Shut up. Stop with the pop-ups. God. Okay, try again. Okay, no, you have to, you still gotta log in or link it with a TV provider to actually watch it. So never mind. It's not on the NBC website, but it's probably on Sling or Fubo or Zumo or Doodoo or what just happened with my monitor? Why did that just go out? Okay. Anyway. What was I saying? If you want to watch the episode, it's probably on one of the free services. If you have a Roku, it's probably on the Roku channel. Either way, it was pretty well done. But as I was watching it, I was like, there's some stuff in there that I didn't necessarily know about, especially stuff from his friends. And I sort of could tell this already before I'd watched this, but it was so just very obvious how just loved and adored Jaylee was by his friends and his family and his community. And he should still be here. I find it deeply unfair what happened to him. He should still be here. And it's so crazy that I felt so strongly about this case for as long as I have because I didn't know Jaylee. I've never been to Oxford. I didn't go to Ole Miss. I've never heard of this person until they went missing. So it's why do I even care? But it's this is a person who should still be here. You know, he was studying social work in college. He was interning at CPS. You know, he had all these ambitions and hopes and goals and dreams, and he should still be here. But because, some men would rather be a murderer than be gay or even bisexual, would rather kill somebody, have that on your spirit, than just say, I like men. And I get it. As a man liker, liking men, especially these days, kind of embarrassing. But all that maybe not have been the best joke. All that to say, something else that kind of ties into that is that, the whole no diddy jokes that a lot of immature men like to make, people are more hung up on the fact that P. Diddy did stuff with men than the fact that he was doing human trafficking, and also the fact that he was beating the absolute crap out of a woman on camera. Like I just want to say that again. People are more perturbed by the fact that P. Diddy was doing stuff with men than they were with the human trafficking and the domestic abuse of it all. And it's like, I don't know. What can you even say about that? And I think this is definitely a thing in the Black community, and being that I am part of the Black community, I can only really speak on the Black community, but I feel like it kind of is more socially acceptable to be a murderer than it is to be a man liker as a man, And that's why I think Christianity is a colonizer religion that Black people shouldn't be engaging in. That is my most hotep opinion, which I think most hoteps are like really Christian. So it's like, I don't even think that is a hotep opinion. Like whatever above hotep there is, that is my most hotep opinion, is that Christianity is a religion of colonizers and it's only oppressing Black people, that Black people should not be engaging with it at all because it is only the tool of the oppressor. That is my most hotep opinion. My second most hotep opinion is that I think we as Black people, it's time to stop straightening our hair. It's time to stop making our hair do things it wasn't meant to do and then being surprised that it's not doing it. You see all the videos of the girlies, they're like, ooh, I just got my silk press, but then I stepped outside and it's so humid, it reverted. And it's like, maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign. I feel like I need the hat, to put on as I say this, but maybe this is a sign, my sisters. This is a sign to stop making your hair do things it wasn't meant to do. Your hair wasn't meant to be straight. How you can be surprised that it's not, That's my most hotep opinion. My second most hotep opinion, because I feel like the whole Christianity as a colonizer religion would probably be a lot more controversial among the average Black person than stop straightening your hair. But, I don't really consider myself. My third most hotep opinion, okay, I have a third hotep opinion, is that I don't know why Black people, and all of this during Black History Month, by the way, starting out Black History Month with my hotep opinions, but I don't know why Black people are so enamored with Egyptian culture when they should be focused on Ethiopia. And I'm going to give you the reasons for it. I haven't had the chance to talk about this, but now I'm going to talk about it. Like, I haven't had the captive audience to talk about this, but I do feel very strongly about it, and I'm going to talk about it. All right. This was definitely not in the topic of conversation, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. So, first of all, hotep, it is an Egyptian word. What does it mean? Who knows? Don't care. It doesn't really matter for this conversation. But if you think about it, first of all, a lot of really uneducated people like to think that as Black people, we have connection to Egypt when we don't really. And that's mainly because of, the kind of biblical thing where, and this is also kind of tied into Black Hebrew Israelites as well, but saying that us Black people are actually God's chosen people because, there's parallels in the Bible because they weren't Egyptians. They're the Israelites in Egypt. They were enslaved like we were enslaved, and then they freed themselves. And then, they try to make a connection somehow. But I feel like Egypt shouldn't be as venerated as it is by Black people. And I'm going to tell you why. And I think it really should be Ethiopia. Because if you think about it, when you think about the average hotep, they are very religious. And the Ethiopians were one of the first groups of people outside of the Levant to adopt Christianity in the first century. This is real, okay? If you care about that kind of thing, this is real. The Ethiopians were among the first to adopt Christianity outside of the Levant. Okay? So there you go. Number 2, Ethiopia was a very rich society. Mansa Musa, hold on, let me make, okay, well, that's Mali, which is not Ethiopia. Where is this? That's not Ethiopia, is it? Where is this? The Mali Empire? That was, whoa, I'm so wrong and I'm so dumb. That's West Africa. Never mind. Mansa Musa, however, was like legit one of the richest people who ever existed. If you care about that kind of thing, if you're into the whole capitalism of it all, then yeah. Not in Egypt though. West Africa. Let's put that there. Either way, aside from him, Egypt was a very rich society, very culturally rich society. And this is the big one that I think people really aren't paying attention to. But during the scramble for Africa in the mid-20th century, where all the European colonizers were scooping up Africa, Ethiopia was one of the last territories to be conquered. They resisted European colonization for a very long time, and they were able to do that. I feel like that should count for something. They weren't able to get Ethiopia, that should count for something. If you're into, the hotepness of it all, you should be into Ethiopia instead of Egypt. Because chances are, genetically, you have more in common with a modern Ethiopian than you do with a modern Egyptian, who are considered Arabs, whereas Ethiopians are, not, for the most part. So I feel like I need to marinate a little bit more on that low-key conspiracy theory that I have, which it's not really conspiracy theory. It's just that I personally believe that hoteps, which listen, being a hotep, that's not exactly the most educated state of being. So it's this doesn't surprise me necessarily. But I feel like if you're going to go with the whole Black supremacy thing, why aren't you looking at Ethiopia? Why are you looking at Egypt? People in Egypt don't look like you. The people in Ethiopia do. Okay? So it's if you are going to be a Black supremacist, why don't you put a little effort into it? The Rastafarians, they had the right idea. They venerate and maybe worship. I don't really fully understand it. Haile Selassie, and he was the, emperor of Ethiopia. So maybe they're going in the right direction and hoteps aren't. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that's that's my rant on that during Black History Month. Yeah. Anywho, like I said, this doesn't have very many. You know what? I didn't do my ad read. It's been an hour and I didn't do my freaking ad read, nor did I talk about the shows that are coming up. So let me just do that. During Black History Month, I don't know how I can tie this together. Hey, non-Black person, are you interested in doing reparations? Here's how you can do some reparations. go on eargasm.com. And this isn't going to end the way you think it's going to end, okay? Go to eargasm.com. Use my code JX10. Get 10% off your order and take these earplugs that you're going to buy with my code JX10. Get 10% off on eargasm.com and give them to your favorite Black person, because life is too short, especially when you're Black, to have hearing damage. So, non-Black person watching this, go on eargasm.com, buy yourself some earplugs, and redistribute that wealth. How about that? Redistribute that wealth. That's what you can do during Black History Month. Okay? Yeah, also, I haven't checked. Hold on. I haven't checked in a really... What? Okay, that was weird. I haven't checked in a little bit, but we have 8 responses on the Google form for seeking a personal zine. What are you seeking? What are you looking for? Are you looking for love? Are you looking for friends? Are you looking for connection? Are you looking for someone to just listen to you? I'm making a zine where I'm compiling personal ads for people who are seeking different things. I will say, in the responses that I've gotten so far, I don't think any of them have been strictly romantic. You know, a lot of them have been non-romantic, actually. So whatever it is that you're seeking, there's been a QR code on screen this whole time. If you scan that and fill out the form, you might find what you're seeking. How about that? How many responses? I have 7, but it's 8 including my own. And I want to have at least 20 if I'm going to make this thing. So I need 12 more. I think I did the math right. You guys are going to tell me if I did. Either way. So we got shows. This month. Not too terribly many, but we do have some. So let's see. This is going out on the 4th. This Friday, the 6th of February. I just burped. We have Rod Smoth, Sad Bath, and Hospitality State at the End of All Music. And I put the wrong End of All Music on here. That's the Oxford one. It's in Jackson. End of All Music. Let me save that. And then the next day, on the 7th, we have Okay. Somebody turned the faucet on above me. That was weird. We have Water Moccasin, Spider Shed, and Shangri-La. I think this is Shangri-La. I think Shangri-La dropped from this, actually. Now that I think about it, I don't think this is Shangri-La any longer. I think this is a different band. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Where? Okay, hold on. Hold on. I don't know how many times I can say hold on. I'm pretty sure this lineup has changed. Oh, but I won't be able to find it here. Well, okay, I think the lineup has changed. I don't know for sure. Either way, it's going to be at the Patton House, Saturday, February 7th at 7 p.m. And then, on a Monday night, a killer Monday night show. Maybe it was this one that changed, because I'm not really sure. Either way, we have Sanity Slip, Human Instinct, Face Rot, and Shangri-La. Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. No. Hold on. Let me actually go back. I don't know if this has changed or not. I don't think it has, though. Yeah, as far as I know, this is the same. But the venue has changed. It's now at Vibe Studio in Jackson. So let me change that to that. It's on University Boulevard. It's by Jackson City. I thought it deleted or something. Either way, that's on the 9th at 7 p.m. And then that next week, that next Friday, we have hole opener, Hag, Die with Nature, and Dreams Without Color at the Patton House on February 20th at 6 o'clock in the evening. And then on the 20th, also on the 20th, we have a second show. We have the Akashic 45s, who's working on new music, by the way. Eyes Like Yours and Junkie Cosmonaut at Urban Foxes on the 20th at 6 o'clock. They're at the same time. Yeah. And then that next week, the 26th, we have 430 Steps, Bite Back, and Mostly Satire at the Patton House on the 26th at 7 o'clock. And then we have the 27th, a show that I am personally looking forward to. We have Dreams Without Color, The Sky Imposes Its Will, Grave Member, and Raven Weather at Urban Foxes on the 27th at 7 o'clock. And then the 28th, which I still don't have a time for this. So I don't know when the door or showtime is. But we have Buckshot Princess and Sad Bath at Hal and Mal's on the 28th. And March, we have on the 21st a show that got moved because of, I think, the ice storm. Storage 24 and Echo Pilot at Hal and Mal's at 7 o'clock. Hold on. On the 7th, we have, which I'm going to be out of town for this. Actually, no, there's more than that. We have on the 7th, Village Instincts, Rosehaven Motor Hotel, and the Akashic 45s at Hal and Mal's at 7 o'clock. And then on the 8th, that's a Sunday, we have Julia Blair, Argus Burton and the Corn Dogs, Sad Bath, and Keith Walt at the End of All Music at 7 o'clock, which again, I'm going to be out of town for that. Yeah, that's all the shows that I have. There might be a couple that I'm missing. I don't really know. Either way, February's going to have some good shows, in my humble opinion, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. You know, I only went to one show last month. Is that right? I only go to one. Is this one? Nope, that was a Monday. It was a... What? Did I? Yes. I only went to one last month. But maybe, hopefully, I'll go to at least 2 this month. So yeah, that is that on that. Yeah, that shows and stuff. There's been one more thing that I've wanted to talk about. I didn't really put it on the list, but it's been kicking around in my head for a while. You know, I'm sure anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together can see what's going on in this country, especially in Minneapolis, with ICE killing people. I mean, they have been killing people for a while now, but now it's gotten more national attention because this is 2 regular white people that have died and not immigrants in facilities. So people are starting to care. And obviously that is all a travesty, but, you know, and it really only takes one person to say something for me to, like, get hot about something, which this is not remotely new to me. Of course, me being myself, I feel like I know my patterns by now. But, you know, it's just something so frustrating that a person can say. And I've already done a whole, I don't even know how many stories I did about this on my Instagram a couple weeks ago. But, you know, it's particularly frustrating when people in this community do it because it's just like tired, lazy, sloppy, boring. What did Abby Lee Miller say? Yeah, all of that, basically. And it's like, and of course this is coming from a melanin deficient person, so it's like, why is my lens cap stuck? That was weird. Can I really be too surprised? No, not really. I can't. I can still be mad about it though, and so that's what I'm gonna be. And it's like, you know, all of this going on that's happening now is obviously very heavy. It's very heavy stuff, and it can be very taxing if you allow it to be very taxing on you. But to get on here on Beyonce's internet and say, like, ugh, you guys, I'm just so tired of the politics. The politics are so tiring. It's so tiring. And I'm being dramatic on purpose because, like, you sound goofy when you say that. You sound goofy and stupid and dumb when you say that. I'm just gonna keep it a band. You do. All right? And it's like, it's really easy for someone like you to say something like that. And at first I was gonna anyway, it's really easy for a person like that to say something like that because, you're not in any immediate danger. Or at least you weren't up until like a month ago in any immediate danger from anything like this. And it's like, you're tired hearing about this, right? You're tired of seeing it. You're tired of seeing an infographic every so often. Imagine how the people in these neighborhoods feel. Not even just these neighborhoods. This has happened here. Like a couple years ago, there was a huge ICE raid at, I want to say, some kind of manufacturing something, and I want to say Canton, maybe, or maybe it was Forest. It was somewhere here in Mississippi. They rounded up a bunch of people, and it really heavily affected the area because a lot of these people had kids that went to schools local to the areas, and now all of a sudden their parents are gone. Right? That was a huge impact. And for you to say that you're tired of seeing a video or an infographic every so often is just so irresponsible. It's just irresponsible. And it's tone deaf. And it's tired. Tired, lazy, sloppy, boring. All the things that Abby Lee Miller said. Okay. It's like, you're tired of hearing about this. Imagine how tired people are of experiencing it. Do you understand? You're tired of opening your eyes and seeing this happen on television several states away. You think you're far removed from this. You're not, but you think you're far removed from this. You think you're never going to have to deal with anything like this. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're right that you'll never have to deal with anything like this. Maybe you are. But for a minute, for just a second, for just the slightest moment, imagine if you were living somewhere and all of a sudden your neighbors are disappearing. No one can get in touch with them. No one can find them. They're being sent to a whole different country that they've never been to, that they don't know anyone at. And that is the last time anyone hears from them or sees them. Okay? And for you to say, oh, I'm just so tired of hearing about the politics. It's so exhausting. Imagine what it feels like to live like that. Imagine what it feels like to not know if you're going to be next. To not know if someone that you love is going to be next. Someone in your family, someone in your community is going to be next. Whether or not this is going to be the last time you hear from somebody. And it's not like, they're facing a serious illness or anything like that. Something that you can mentally prepare yourself for. But all of a sudden, one day they're here, the next day they're not. And no one knows where they are. No one can find them. And then people like you are saying, oh, this is just so divisive. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. It's too complicated. Like, nothing's complicated about this. Nothing is remotely hard to understand about what's going on. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's really annoying when people say stuff like that, and I don't want to ignore it anymore. Like, you sound goofy. You sound goofy and you sound stupid. And I think less of you as a person, and I can't take you seriously if you say something like that, especially now. Like, you're tired of it. You don't think all of us are tired of it either, by the way. You think you're just, like, unique. You're unique in that you're tired of this. You're tired of hearing about it. We're all tired of it. We're all tired of people experiencing it. We're all tired of our neighbors, our fellow Americans. Because it's not like they're just rounding up people who are undocumented. We're tired of our fellow Americans living in fear in their own countries, right? And, it's not even just the Americans. I'm tired of people here living in fear in their own country, It's insane. It's insane to think about. And it's insane that people are just being so cavalier about it. And it's like one day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize, things ain't sweet. It ain't sweet. And it's going to be too late for you to realize that because you are too tired of the politics. Oh no, you're tired of hearing about it. Oh, it must be so hard for you to see it on the news or read an infographic about what's going on. It's not like you have to worry about whether or not you're going to go to work and then never come home, or you have to worry about you're going to send your kid to school and never see them again. Like, have some empathy. Have the slightest bit of empathy about this, right? And this isn't directed to anyone in particular, but if you think it's about you, it is. It sure is. If the shoe fits, you better put that shoe on. You better dance around in it because apparently it is about you. So it's just it's so annoying. It's so annoying. And it's like, listen to yourself when you say things like that. It's goofy. It's annoying. It's goofy. And I don't know how many other adjectives I can ascribe to it, but I don't know, man. What I do know is that there is no place in this community for people who feel that way. I'll say that much. There shouldn't be, because for a lot of people, this is really real. This isn't just something abstract, just something that's happening some far off place that you've never been before, that you'll never end up going to. This is real. This is real, and it's happening to people, right? So for someone to say that they're tired of politics, I'm tired. You sound stupid. Shut up. God. The time for being nice is over, by the way. The time for preserving people's feelings about this is over. It's long gone. If you're offended, open your eyes, open your ears, look around you, see what's going on. Maybe realize that it ain't about you in this situation. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. And all I know is if I see it, I'm just going to have to talk about it. That's really all there is to it. And, to, I guess, sort of see the other side. Not really this side, but it is really scary what's happening, right? And it is kind of, I don't know, uncertain because it's like, what can you do about this? What can the average person do? And what the average person can do is open their eyes and open their ears. Look around you at what's happening. Listen to what people are saying and perhaps take it seriously. And that's the bare minimum, by the way. I'm not even talking about, getting out in the streets and protesting or, boycotting or anything like that. I'm talking the bare minimum, basic awareness of what's going on. And something else that I find kind of interesting, again, during Black History Month of all months, is that there are a lot of, let's say, melanin challenged people who are shocked and surprised that this kind of thing is happening. And I will say, I am obviously appalled about all of this, but none of this is really shocking to me or surprising. I feel like this is an escalation of what's been going on in the United States since its conception. Being that I am a Black person and a descendant of American chattel slavery, I know what the state is capable of. And I know that it's been going on for this country's entire history. But now it is starting to affect people it hasn't affected before. And all of a sudden, people are surprised and shocked and appalled. And it's like, how could this be happening? How can it be happening? It's been happening. Hello? Open a book. Listen to someone. I don't know. And there are also Black people who are acting like this as well, which there are some, I don't even call them Uncle Ruckus types. They're just some Black people who are genuinely surprised. And to that I say, open your eyes, open your ears, open a book. Maybe don't fall asleep during history class, which, by the way that US history is taught in public schools is very, very pro-America. So it's like, you're probably not going to get what you need to get out of that. But like, just look around you, especially if you live in the South. You really have no excuse being Black in the South and like being shocked and appalled that this kind of thing can happen. Because like it kind of never stopped. Slave catchers never stopped. They just changed form, to being other things, other oppressive tools of the state. So it's like, like I said, none of this is surprising. It's harrowing. It's horrifying, but as crazy as it sounds, it's not surprising that this has happened or it's escalated into this, degree that it has. Because, I mean, if you look at just the past, it's like, yeah, yeah, So, I don't know. It just really chaps my butt to hear people say that they're tired of politics when, or hear people say that they don't do politics when politics is certainly doing them, and I can't say I came up with that line, but it really is applicable. You don't do politics if politics is doing you. It's doing you rough. It's doing you real bad, so I don't know, man. And again, it's like, it is kind of desolate. Like, what can you do in this situation other than just like exist? And honestly, I don't have the answer to that. Like, I really don't know. I'm trying to figure that out myself. Like, what on earth can you do while this is happening other than exist? And I don't really know. And I wanted to, I don't know, do something, but I don't even know what that something would look like aside from protesting, which I'm not gonna lie, I've never protested before, but given where I have grown up, which is Selma, Alabama, I have kind of gotten it drilled into my head that protesting only leads to death, dismemberment, and grievous injury. Because pretty much every example of protesting that was shown to me growing up, which was, Bloody Sunday, the Birmingham protests, all of that ended with people either dying or getting like real hurt. And it's like, oh God, like what? And I know most of the time, with your average protest, like that kind of thing isn't happening, but it's just been so drilled into my head that that is the end point of a protest. It's like, I don't know, man. It's really, really hard for me to mentally get past that, to actually do something like that. But I know there are other forms of protest that I could probably be engaging in that don't necessarily involve going to the streets. So that might be something to think about, but it really is getting harder day after day to wake up and smile, and it's like, micro level things are kind of okay for me personally. I have people in my life, I have things that I can look forward to, I have successes that are, developing for myself, but macro, it ain't good. And I don't really know, how can I even be happy about the micro when the macro is just barreling down on me, And again, that's an answer that I don't have. But it is something that who I would say I'm a pretty average US citizen, kind of feel. So it's like, it's just like, what do you even do in this situation to not feel so hopeless about it all? And, I will say there are, I guess, certain things that are happening that do make it feel a little less hopeless. Like I said, and probably the best writing I've ever done, a video essay that I made a few years ago called I Am My Ancestors' Wildest Dreams, that I repost like once or twice a year now. Something that does give me comfort throughout all of this is, the knowledge that my entire bloodline has survived conditions that were worse. And so therefore, like, surely I can survive this. But, it's just something that I have to remind myself of. But it is something that does give me a tremendous amount of strength during these very difficult times, is the knowledge that, several generations ago, my ancestors were living through things that, I don't have to experience anymore. I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, but kind of thinking about things that, let's say, I don't know, my 5 times great grandmother would have to endure. And I don't have to go through those things anymore. I can live independently. I can have my own job, have my own income, my own source of money, and I won't have to, be subjected to a lot of things that women in the past had to. So it's like, on the one hand, if you look at it in that way, like, I am doing pretty good. But on the other hand, it's like, how long is that going to last for? How long am I going to have it good for before it's not good anymore? Is that going to be in my lifetime? Is that going to be in this decade, in the next one? I don't know. I don't really know. But all I can do, I guess, is focus on the now and not an uncertain future, because anything could happen. If if these last couple years could teach me anything, it's that anything could happen. So that is, I guess, what I and all of you are left with, because that's gonna be it for this episode. Kind of a downer ending, but kind of a downer year. And the year just started, by the way. We're only in February. Black History Month, no less. So it's like, yeah. Anywho, this has been, hold on, what episode is this? This has been the 64th episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I've been your host, Erin. Thank you for allowing me to run my mouth. Follow me on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, hold on. You're only getting half the story. Use code JX10 on eargasm.com for 10% off your order. Engage in those reparations this month. Also, speaking of reparations, if you see me in person, you can just give me cash. You're just giving me money. Did you ever think about that? You could ask for my Cash App, my Venmo, my PayPal. You can just give me money. If that's something that interests you. Because I'm breaking my silence. Look at my headphones. Look at the absolute state of my headphones. It's crazy, and it's only getting worse. And I haven't even had these for very long, and they weren't cheap either. I think these were like, maybe, actually don't know how much I paid for these, but I know it was not nothing. So, and also I don't really want to get rid of them. They're perfectly good headphones. They're just so crusty. Anyway, what are you seeking? You might be able to find that. Fill out the form at the QR code. And also there's a link in my Instagram bio that I kind of forgot was there. dog outside. Anywho, I have to go. I folded my clothes, but I didn't put them away. So I need to go do that so that I can start my week off right. Yeah. By the next time that you see me, oh my gosh, I will be wearing glasses and I'll have shorter hair. Maybe I'll be wearing glasses. I don't know. These haven't shipped yet, but I'll definitely have shorter hair. Well, shorter hair reveal. Yeah, that'll be fun. Anyways, it's time for me to go.